If you're struggling to let go of your ex-wife, you're probably finding that it's really hard to move forward with your life. As a divorce coach for men, I get to explore this a lot with my clients, trying to figure out what it is that's holding them back, that's blocking them from really letting go and moving forward. Here are 4 of the really common reasons that I see men staying stuck and holding on to their ex-wives. First is an identity issue. For a lot of men, their primary sense of identity of who they are is very deeply tied to their ex-wife. It is the identity of husband, father, provider, protector, partner, lover, all within a very specific setting, right? Her husband, her partner, her lover, the father of her children. And when your identity is very closely connected to her, it's very difficult to conceive of yourself outside of the life that you had imagined and planned for. Before any of us can thrive in a new situation, we have to first be able to conceptualize ourselves in that new role. The brain is very capable of this. Our brains are incredibly plastic, able to form new thoughts, new beliefs, and to view ourselves in new ways. We're very, very adaptive. But the brain also likes the familiar. And you have a habit, maybe a habit from 30, 40, 50 years of being in this particular role, of seeing your identity with this particular person in this particular life. It's uncomfortable for the brain to even consider that your identity could be different. It takes time and patience, but most of all, practice to begin seeing yourself in new ways. The second reason that you might be struggling to let go of your ex-wife is because you're using your anger the wrong way. A lot of men feel anger towards their ex-wives during and after the divorce, and I actually think that's a really important part of healing. However, it can also be a trap, because if you're using your anger to direct it towards her, maybe not in person, but in your mind, if your anger is coming up as like constant arguments with her in your mind, that's going to keep you trapped. It's going to keep you stuck and not moving forward, because anger is not there. Its role is not to punish her, but that's how a lot of us try to use it, right? We try to punish the other person in our minds, and we actually only end up punishing ourselves. The real role of anger in healing is to help you reconnect to your sense of self, to help you reconnect to your self-worth, to your self-confidence, to your self-esteem, by saying, hey, she shouldn't have treated me this way. I didn't deserve this. I deserve better. I'm important. I matter. That's the important part of anger. That's the message that's going to help you regain your self-confidence and heal. But we have to tap into anger in the right way and direct it to support us in reconnecting to that sense of self-worth and value, and not get caught up in using anger to try to punish somebody who's not there to be punished. I go into a lot greater detail on this topic of anger in this video. The third reason that you might be struggling to let go is because you've gotten stuck in another trap. This is the sex equals intimacy trap. You know you're here if you cannot stop picturing your ex with another guy. A lot of men are tormented by mental images, videos, often very graphic, of their ex having sex with somebody else. And it's incredibly disturbing, disruptive, and upsetting. If this is happening to you, reach out to me, because there's a simple exercise that will help you actually deal with this and get some space from it so that you can have a little breathing room. And I can help you do that. If these kinds of mental images are coming up for you and really causing problems for you, it's a pretty strong sign that you have fallen into the trap of allowing sex to represent all of intimacy. This is something that happens for a lot of men, because men are really discouraged from other forms of intimacy, right? From a young age, most men are discouraged from showing strong emotion, right? Don't cry. You've got to be tough. You've got to be a man. And so other forms of intimacy, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy outside of sex, holding hands, physical touch, physical contact with friends, mental and emotional intimacy through conversation is often not available to men because it's not tough or manly to talk about your feelings. Spiritual intimacy is also another area where men tend to be really isolated. So for a lot of men, sex is the vehicle for intimacy. It is the place where they are able to, in a way that is accepted, experience the kind of intimacy that all humans need, right? We are relational animals and we use intimacy to bond with other people. It's important for every human. But the reality is that sex is just not a big enough container to hold all of the intimacy that a human needs to have healthy relationships. So if you're finding that you can't stop picturing your ex with somebody else, having sex with somebody else, that's a pretty big sign that for you, sex has become the source of intimacy, the representative of intimacy. I talk about this also in more detail in this video and what to do to start to bring other forms of intimacy into your life. Again, there's some immediate NLP techniques we can use to just get relief, get those images out of your head so they stop tormenting you. But then the deeper work is going to be on helping yourself tap into a richer, deeper pool of intimacy out in the world. The fourth reason that you might be having a hard time letting go is because you don't actually understand what love is. And you think that you are still in love with your ex, and you think that that means that you need to be together. This is not your fault if you're feeling that way. We don't talk about love as a society. Well, that's not entirely true. We talk about love, but not specifically, right? Love is a little bit of this vague thing. You know it when you feel it. It can hit at any time. You're supposed to find this perfect person that you feel it all with and for, but we don't like to give it a really clear definition. So it becomes this kind of mysterious feeling that comes and goes, which can be really anxiety producing because you don't know when it's going to come and you don't know when it's going to go. And we really need it. And if you have it, you're supposed to be with that person. It creates a lot of emotional drama. So I'd like to offer you a definition of love that is very honest, a little bit scary, and incredibly helpful. Let's define love as an act of will, both an intention and an action, to nurture oneself or others. Under this definition of love, nurturing is going to include care, affection, recognition, commitment, responsibility, and respect. Now, this definition is borrowed in part from this book, All About Love by Bell Hooks. This definition of love is partly hers, and it's partly borrowed from the classic self-help book, The Road Less Traveled by the psychiatrist M. Scott Peck. Let's just think about it for a moment. Love is an act of will, right? That means it's a choice. It's an intention. It is something that we choose to do. I choose to love you. It's not something that just happens to me or hits me out of the blue. According to this definition, love is also dependent on taking action. And those actions are not just about care and affection. They are about commitment, respect, responsibility. This is where so many of our relationships fall short. And this is why this definition of love is a little bit scary, because it makes you sit with and ask yourself, did I really respect my partner? Did I respect her choices? Did I respect her as a person? Did I admire her? Did I see her as capable? This is a hard thing to sit with. This was hard for me. I really had to confront for myself, both in my relationship with myself and with my husband as I was reading this definition of love. Do I really hold him in high regard? Do I respect him? Do I respect myself? Do the actions I take throughout the day, the way that I treat my body, the choices I make about what I eat and how much I sleep and how much I work, how I exercise, am I really respecting myself? Right? If we accept a definition of love like this, we have to take a lot more responsibility and really think about our choices and our actions. Are they loving? And with a definition like this, love and abuse really don't coexist. Because if love involves care, affection, responsibility, commitment, and respect, well, now for me to actively abuse you verbally, emotionally, physically, that's not loving. Right? And so I can no longer say, I love you and I'm hurting you in the same breath, because that is not part of an active intention to nurture you. This one is probably a really big can of worms, perhaps one that goes beyond the scope really of this video. So I'm just going to let that idea be here. You can accept it. You don't have to. You can stay with a prior definition of love. But do just consider what love is. Like, really, what is love? How do you love? How do you love others? How do you love yourself? How do you want to be loved? And hold those questions up against your experiences in life. And see if you can look with really clear eyes and consider whether or not you are still in love with this person you call your ex-wife. What these 4 things have in common is that none of them are really easy to confront or sit with. This is why I think a lot of people, men and women both, get stuck on past relationships and can't let go. Because letting go requires you to develop a lot of self-awareness that's often painfully gained by sitting with and thinking about these things. What is my identity? How am I defining my role in the world? What are my emotions? How am I using my anger? What is it telling me? How am I directing it? What is intimacy? How am I meeting my needs for intimacy? And what role does sex play in that? What is love? Am I truly loving? Was she truly loving? What would it mean to love in a way that fits a more clear definition of what love is? And these are not easy questions to ask ourselves. They're things most of us never think about. We rarely talk about. It's confronting, but it is so empowering. And I kind of hate that word, but it's like a little gimmicky and I don't know. But it's a really good word for what this does. When you sit with these things that are hard to look at, you get stronger. You feel more certain, you feel safer, you feel more confident, you feel more comfortable and at home in your own skin. And when that happens, then you can start to let go. You can start to move forward and you can start to build a new and rich life for yourself after divorce. I hope you found this one helpful. Please subscribe, drop me a note in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you found this video helpful, then you have to check out my free masterclass, How to Take Back Control of Your Life After Divorce. In that hour-long masterclass, I go into way more detail than I can cover on these YouTube videos about how specifically to start to heal, to stop the painful emotions, regain your confidence, and take back control of your future. I break it down into steps and give you a lot of actionable items that you can start using right now today to start feeling better. You'll find the link in the video description below under free masterclass, How to Take Back Control of Your Life After Divorce. I hope to see you on the masterclass and in the next video here on YouTube. Thanks for watching.